Hello co-stars and welcome back to another episode of Generation Films. My name is American Ben.
My name is Alan.
So today we are going to do part 2 of how Palpatine would take over the world as the American president. We did the first part on Generation Tech. It's out right now. Please go check that out.
Just to recap quickly, basically Palpatine has seized control of the US government by getting rid of all checks and balances by staging what's kind of like a false flag attack. And then after that, he has basically created a refugee exchange program where he's allowing refugees to become American citizens in exchange for free labor.
And so the movement goes international. Manufacturing jobs have all come back to the United States, and emerging markets in China who are heavily reliant on manufacturing can no longer compete in that sphere. So they're going to need help. They're going to be desperate. And what happens? Palpatine and the United States show up to help and to offer these people, these poor people, membership in the refugee program.
And so what does that mean? That not only recruits the refugees in these emerging markets or developing nations and basically eliminates a large percentage of the unemployed in this country, it also brings American companies that have the right licenses to employ these refugees to bring tax revenue to these local governments. So it's a win-win for both.
Right, so these companies go there and they're basically going to be the managers of these developing nations. So you might say, well, basically they're going to own these workers. They're going to be able to exploit this labor. But no, because Palpatine is a man of the people. Right. And he's going to say, to protect against possible predation by these companies, we are going to form the American Global Workers Alliance that every single refugee is going to be able to gain membership to, and we are going to be protecting their individual rights in these countries and in the United States.
China at this point is furious. There's tons of unrest domestically and their economy has basically flatlined, and slowly they're seeing all of their regional influence basically disappear overnight as America once again takes over the Pacific Rim.
So this is where Palpatine and America see a window to really take a shot at China. So what are they going to do? They will publicly announce that all refugees in Asia, including those in China, are eligible for membership in AGWA, the American Global Workers Alliance. They will officially recognize the sovereignty of Taiwan, which will not please China any further, put it as kind of the manager of the Asian region, and put them in charge of processing all refugees into the AGWA program, including those from China.
Okay, from mainland China. And as a result, China basically threatens to start a trade war with America, but again, they don't have too much leverage at this point. Their economy is basically not that powerful anymore.
So at this time, someone mysteriously sinks a boat of Chinese refugees on its way to Taiwan for processing into the AGWA program.
No one really knows who did it.
No one knows who did it, but Palpatine holds a vigil for the victims, right?
Yeah, he holds a candlelight vigil, a big charity concert. He plays like, bass guitar for Coldplay or something like that. And, the world loves it. And he basically unites the world around this tragic event, saying that this is not only an attack on the Chinese people or the refugee population, but it's an attack on freedom itself.
Good. Right. Yeah. And so from there, he basically implies that China is responsible for the attack and positions himself as, again, a benevolent hero who wants to protect the refugees and peoples everywhere against tyranny.
So the EU at this point is looking over at America with envy. Basically, they want to copy the AGWA system. They also have their own shortages in labor. So they decided to create IGWA with American investment and also American consultation.
Right, and of course Palpatine and America are happy to ally with IGWA and allow them access to the pool of refugees around the world in exchange for, some slight oversight and say in IGWA's day-to-day affairs, and maybe a little bit of slight subjugation as well.
Yes.
So now the unspoken problem that has arisen with these large refugee programs is that everybody's either a refugee or unemployed, and so there's no consumers to purchase from the companies, or there's just a more limited consumer market. But does that really matter?
No, that doesn't affect the United States as much because not only do we have massive cash reserves now from all the manufacturing that we've done, we also have free labor. So we are somewhat insulated from the global depression.
Right. I guess thriving is relative, and America still thrives more than many other countries around the world.
Right. While other countries are basically collapsing, America can insulate themselves from all that damage.
Right.
So around this time, Chinese sleeper cells begin emerging in refugee centers around the world, and they start attacking these centers. Now, the Chinese government obviously says that they are not involved in these attacks, but the U.S. is a little bit skeptical.
Right, and of course, people around the world are asking for protection against these vicious Chinese attacks against refugees. And so what happens? Palpatine comes out and says, no, listen, peace is the answer.
Yes.
War is not. But in order to remain vigilant, here's what we will do. We will commit 25% of the European and American global workers' alliances to just a peaceful self-defense force.
Right. And this will militarize a massive amount of people on the planet of Earth.
Right, under the guise of only being for self-defense, but maybe there's other intentions there.
Right. So at this point, Palpatine holds immense international power, and he gathers all of his allies, and they basically put heavy economic sanctions on China, which completely collapses the economy. All social order basically falls apart. There's martial law, and there are people in the streets rioting, fighting the military.
And so what happens with China on the verge of collapse? Of course, it has to be practical. It comes to the table, it negotiates, it pays reparations, and it allows EGWA and AGWA to operate within its territory, which at this point, now we have a world alliance united together as GUM, the Global Unity Movement.
Right. That sounds really peaceful and really great.
Utopia.
So now we're at phase 3. Palpatine has ascended to global domination, and the United States has a considerable amount of control over the entire global economy.
And so the entire world is united, militarized, but peaceful, under the gentle, caring hand of Palpatine.
So Palpatine has essentially recreated the Star Wars galaxy. You have your core worlds, which are basically, America, Europe, where you still have some kind of prosperity. You have individuals who have money, freedom, they can enjoy life, but the majority of the world has now become a slave labor force or military force.
And there's nothing they can do. I mean, they don't have a job anymore. Palpatine's in control of the world economy. He has the machine running on its own.
Yes. The government is so large, it basically is everything. And if you're not a part of the government, you have nothing.
Right. So anyways, I don't know where it goes from there, but that's the video. I hope you enjoyed what we came up with.
Yeah.
If you really liked it, maybe we can try to come up with what happens throughout the universe after that. But
Alpha Centauri.
Yeah, who knows? We'll try to do it for sure. For now, please like, comment, and subscribe down below. Don't forget to sign up for AGWA yourself so you can be a valuable contributor to the world society.
100%. It's free food and housing. Come on.
So anyways, thanks again for joining us. And remember, the only escape from this cold, brutal world we live in is motorcycles, movies, and the global unity movement.
Gum.
Generation Films, out.